welcome to Face Live Talk Show. My guest today is a partner in the Immigration and Naturalization Practice Group and serves on the management committee at Greenspoon Marder LLP. Let's welcome Nandini Nair. Welcome
Thank
to
you,
the show,
Rashmi.
Nandini.
Thank you. Thank you for having me to here today. It's good
Thank
to speak to you.
Thank you so much. And looking at you, we feel so relaxed. We have so many questions, and we know that at least there is someone who can answer all our queries and questions.
I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my best today.
Yeah, as our viewers have seen that you will be coming on a show, they have already been asking me about their kids, because a lot of my friends and my viewers' families also, their kids are here in USA. They are here on student, like they are students. So, like the universities, they have passed a law that you have to go back to your country if you are
Mhm.
not having any classes, right? And if you
Right.
have online classes, then you have to go back. If you have your any class, then you can be here, right? So some universities have online classes. So
Mhm.
what is your call on that? I would like to know.
Okay. So the law basically that the administration passed says the following, that if you're a student, F1 student, whether you're outside the US or you're here, and your university is going to go fully online for fall 2020, then if you're here in the US, you have to leave or you have to change the school that you're going to be attending, which seems a bit so silly because it's not like it's so easy to do that because you have to get admission into that new university, and there's a lot of processes that are actually involved in that. If you are in India or abroad and you are planning on coming back, that's what's the plan here, and your school was going to be fully remote, you will not be able to either get a visa or be able to come into the US even if you have a valid F1 visa. So that's created so much chaos to the Indian students, the Chinese students, because they're the biggest users of the F1 program. And right now there's multiple lawsuits that have been filed by Harvard, by MIT, by the state of California.
Yeah.
So we're hoping that the judge makes a really quick decision, and they actually have to, because the administration has said that the schools have to certify by July 15th, which is in a couple of days, that what they're going to be doing for fall 2020.
Hmm.
So the judge, we're hoping for a decision maybe by Monday or Tuesday at the latest, that if they she hits an injunction, then this will not go forward. But that's really the current state of affairs, that we're waiting on this litigation to see if this is actually going to be implemented. In the meantime, a lot of students are in a very difficult place, and we are really telling them, contact your school, contact the DSO, because the DSO is going to have the latest information for you as to what the school is planning on doing. Now, if the school has a mixed program, some
Okay.
online, some in person,
Hmm.
we might be able to work around that. And I think that's what a lot of schools are reworking, to see if it is actually possible to now, if they made it like a decision of remote, maybe can we do in person, within the requirements that's necessary to keep these type of students in the United States, or let them be able to come in. But again, that requires faculty, right, to
Yeah.
say, yes, I'm okay with teaching in person. And those are
Absolutely.
the difficulties that's going on right now. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. So I like I said, it's a very hard situation. We're hoping for some good news in the next couple of days, and if that comes through, that would be really great. But so just hold on and wait right now for this moment to see if they make a decision quickly.
Yeah, because in classroom also they have to maintain the social distancing, and kids are kids, end of the day. That's what I always feel. And it is really difficult situation right now we all are going through, and we are really hoping that the vaccine should be out. That is the
Mm-hmm.
only answer we have. It's
That
really
is.
tough right now, and
It
especially
is.
I think Nandini, like a lot of people have they don't have their jobs, and
Mm-hmm.
how they're going to afford the medicine. I think so it should be for free.
Right, right. No, I'm absolutely for this. That's the thing that everybody has to kind of think also about. It's great to get a vaccine, and hopefully we get a vaccine very soon. I don't know what soon means. Is it by September, by November? But the thing is, even if they develop the vaccine, there's so much logistics that's involved after the vaccine, right? Because how do you distribute this to the entire world? This is not just a US problem. This is not a New Jersey problem. This is a world issue.
Worldwide, yeah.
Okay, right? So then you have to get that into the supply chain. But then the next thing is, who's going to pay for this? Right now, the insurance companies has tagged one dose of whatever vaccine they're planning to be about $5,500. Now, that's a lot of
Yeah,
money,
of
right? If
course.
there's four people in your family, five people, this is like $20,000 if the insurance companies don't pick up that cost. And even if you have insurance and they pick up the cost, at how much? But then that doesn't talk about the people who lost their jobs
That's
and
what my
don't have
question was.
insurance,
Yeah, of course.
and how can they afford all of this, right? So that's where I agree with you 100%. This is a catastrophic event in the world, and anybody who develops this vaccine, I hope they have the foresight and the humanity to make sure that this is distributed free, or even maybe what, $10, $20, something that's very
Yes.
small and affordable amount. If that's where we have to actually lean towards. And I hope there is such humanity in this world, and it's not about a profits and making money and things like that, because there's just no other way. I don't know how we'll survive through this then.
Of course, everybody will have to come forward and we have to fight with the situation. You're absolutely
Yeah.
right. And
Hmm.
really, it's really very stressful right now. And every day we got so many calls and people are having so many questions. And that is the reason we thought we must invite you on our show. And of course, they want to know about the current state of affair also. What is the situation?
The current state in immigration is difficult and anxiety, and it is unknowing. So what's going on is that previous administrations and even this administration in the past, prior to 2020, they were more about the illegal immigrants in the U.S., so the undocumented. They were focused on the wall. There was more that kind of talk, and we believed, legal immigration was safe from changes, safe from attacks, safe from any sort of modifications. And this past year, we've come to, obviously seen that legal immigration is also being under attack. So the current state of affairs is, I always tell everybody, is that we're being attacked, and people who are coming in here legally, they're productive members of society. They pay taxes. They're doing good work and things like that. The administration is chipping away at all of the legal visa programs that are available to them. So, for example, we talked about the students, right? It's about taking out the students. And one of the reasons that they are looking to did the student ban, as it's called, is there's many in the that believe that once a student comes into the United States on a student visa, they never leave, right? They transition to an age and they look for their green card, and so you have more foreigners coming into the
Right.
U.S. That's the thinking. So that's one. Then you go backwards to a few weeks ago, they had the entry ban for H1s, L1s, Js, and H2Bs. And if in your circle and for the audience, 70% of the H-1B program is used by Indian nationals, right? So that's cutting down the Indians from being able to come into the United States.
Yeah.
And what happened is that the administration put an entry ban to individuals who do not have visas in their passport. Even if they were in the US, let's say in February,
Okay.
they went to India for stamping, right? Tons and tons of people did that, right? And they got stuck because of the pandemic. The consulates closed. They never were able to get that visa. They are not going to be able to get a new visa and come back into the US right now, scheduled for December 31st, 2020. But that's not even the worst of it. I have so many calls, so many emails from people who the H1 principal might be in the US, and maybe the wife and the kid
That's
went
what
to
I'm thinking. Yeah, the family is suffering.
the
Oh my
family
gosh.
separation. Yeah, and they went to India for a death, a vacation, any whatever the reasons was. They got stuck, and now they're not going to be able to come back in. I cannot tell you, Rashmi, how many calls I've been with that specific situation where the spouse are separated.
Oh
They
my
have
God.
small minor kids who are U.S. citizens who, because the kids were born here, but
Yeah.
the mom can't get the visa, or the dad can't get the visa, and they can't come back in. And there are months and months of separation going on. And it's tremendously difficult to listen to those specific people and realize that the consequence of this ban, not only to the H-1B worker, but how it's actually separated parents from their kids, wives from their husbands. And that's stuff that people don't seem to talk about enough at this point.
Yeah, of course. That's your profession and you have to listen to what they're saying, but it must be hurting you so bad because end of the day you are a human being, of course, and it
Yeah.
really hurts. It's
Yeah.
a very sad and a very bad situation, I'll say, of course, and it's a lot of suffering, I'll say.
Yeah, no, it's tremendously hurtful when you talk to these people. They have small children. They haven't seen their dad or mom in months, and just those kind of things. So, that ban was there. Prior to that, in April, there was a green card ban. So if you were outside the U.S. And someone in the U.S. was sponsoring you for a green card, normally U.S. citizen child sponsoring parents.
Mm-hmm.
That's the common scenario, and they're not going to be able to get their green cards. That ban has now been extended till December 31st, 2020. So
Oh,
what does this all mean at the end? It's really just cutting out foreign people from the US society. That's how I look at it. It's cutting us out from the fabric of this great country, which is supposed to be about diversity and inclusion and the melting pot. No more. Let's cut them all out, and that's what is going on. So current state of affairs is that, and I don't think it's going to get any better. I expect even worse things to come up until probably November right now. So I'm always nervous now.
I know. I wanted to ask you rest of the future in 2020, but
Yeah,
I
no,
don't see any
it's nerve
hopes.
wracking. It's absolutely nerve wracking for. I mean, because I've been doing this 20 years, so you get to know people, right? You represent people for years. They haven't got their green card, especially Indians, because they're backlogged for so long. Um, and you hear the situations. This is not something that's just like these people are, on a piece of paper for me. I know them, right? I've had to talk to them. I've had to file their paperwork. These kind of things. I've been with people who are single, then they got married, and I'm doing, so I'm with this journey with them. And so when they call me and they're like, this is what's going on. What do I do? And I don't have any great answers for you.
Yeah, I know. Of course, you must be
Because
feeling so helpless. I can
yeah,
understand.
yeah, and they're angry and they're sad and the constant question is, what did we do wrong? We came in legally. We did it the right way, right? You told us to come in legally. We came in legally. We're not here not to work. We're here to, do professional jobs or pay our taxes, grow our families. There's nothing else that we're doing. And you want to also cut us out at this point. So I don't know. It's very disheartening. So I just tell people, wait till the election. Let's see who's in the White House in January, and we'll have to take it from there.
So one of our friends, they are into entertainment field. Of course, I was going to ask you before also. I told you about the P3 visa, and
Mhm.
they have the events due, and they're saying that what is the situation on that because they
Okay.
have a group who was supposed to come and perform.
Right. So if right now the consulates are completely closed in India. We have some information that broke on Friday, or that a State Department had tweeted. And again, this is how we're getting information. It's not some formal
Okay.
policy.
Oh.
That they had tweeted that they may be looking to restart some consulate services July 15th,
Oh.
but it's going to be based on country conditions. So for in India, for example, the pandemic is spreading. It's getting worse and worse. So I don't anticipate the consulates to be reopening in July, maybe not till August, not till, even October is the first current available dates. So if someone has a performance and they're looking to get that P3 visa, they're not going to be able to get it at this point. We don't anticipate the consulates in India specifically opening maybe in October.
Yeah, they are saying, can they launch the date in November or December or Jan? What do you suggest if you are saying
I
it's going to
say
open? They are
2021.
watching our show.
Yeah, I would say 2021. I honestly believe that. So right now, if you log in to the system, you can try to get an October 2020 appointment. But the problem is that what they're probably going to do, if and when they open, is they're going to reschedule all the people that had appointments scheduled previously and were canceled because of COVID. All right. And they're going to spread out these appointments and they're going to stagger staff. So even when they open, I don't think that new people are going to be able to get appointments very quickly. So it might be in their best interest if they're going to put money into a show and sponsor people and do all of these things. I think you got to take 2020 completely off the radar and off your map and probably look at 21, maybe,
Mhm.
February, maybe March to schedule something. If I was them, this is the based on everything I know, and all the experience, you're not looking at 2020 and getting a visa coming in.
So he's asking no relief.
No, no relief at this point.
Some
Like we talked about, the vaccine has to happen,
The
and
whole game is off vaccine. If it is there, we all are good. Of course, we're
yeah,
just waiting for that good news. Yeah.
but it's also the vaccine is really important, not just for our health. Obviously, that's the most important, but these trickle down effects, right? To have the consulate feel comfortable having workers, officers come back in, being able to, control that. There's so much more that's involved once you have this vaccine, and I think that's where we're probably at.
One of our viewers, she's texting her status. She's here on work visa, and her status is finishing on 18th August. So, what should she do? Like,
Does she say what her status is? If is she able to extend that status? Because CIS is working. So if you're able to extend the status, then unless if she has finished, like let's say she's on an H-1B and she's completely finished her 6 years and there's no way to extend the status, what I would recommend is filing a change of status to a B2. So that gives her a little bit of time to wait for flights to come back up, maybe some more options on the table, something of that time, wrap up her life a little bit here. That might be her only, viable option.
we have a call. I'll just take the call. Yeah. Yes, you're
Sure.
live with
Hello.
Nandini? Yeah.
Hi, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good.
Actually, my name is Prachi. I'm calling from California. I
Mhm.
have a question. Like, my mom has a green card already from here, but she surrendered. It's like almost 10 years ago, 2009. She doesn't want to come back. So it's already done. And now like, we are thinking to do that immigration for her. So I can apply for her again, or she just get the visitor visa only?
You can do the I-130. That's what it's going to be. Again, because that old green card is gone. Because she didn't come back within the correct time, she's not going to be able to use that. So pretend that application is not there. It's void. It's gone. So you'd be basically restarting the whole thing. So you have two options. You can file what's called the I-130, or you can go for the visitor visa. I will tell you that right now there's a ban on the green card process from the administration. So you could file the I-130, and that's going to take at least 8 months here in the US to finish. And maybe we have a different situation in 8 months where the ban is gone, or we have a different administration. Things can move.
Okay, okay. Now, thank you so much, ma'am. That's a very useful information for me. Thank you so much,
Thank you
ma'am.
so much.
Welcome.
It's a really very stressful and worrisome situation with everyone, I think. So there are so many people who are going through so many problems because of this COVID-19. It has just shocked the whole world.
Yeah, it has. And like I said before, it's not about just the health. This is, we've had economic consequences, right? We have immigration consequences because the administration is using COVID-19's situation as the argument for all of these bans. So this has come to affect so many people, right? Even like my practice. Yes, I'm fortunate that I can still do what I do. But yes, there's economic fallout for me. There is, for my clients who are stuck in very difficult situations, and I have faced a lot of emotional challenges sometimes with my clients because they look to me to give them guidance and strategy and help and and just sometimes hold their hand, like, what do I do, Nandini, and stuff. And in the years past, there's always room. There's always ways to navigate things and work around situations that I'm able to do. And I can't. I can't. And I have to give them hard choices. Right? They've lost their job. An H-1B employee has lost their job. They got 60 days. And they're like, how am I going to find a job in 60 days? Nobody's hiring, Nandini. I'm like, I know. And, then they have to file for a change of status or they have to do something else. And, before there were flights, they were like, I just want to leave. I can't even leave. I'm stuck in this country. I have no job. I have no money. I'm running out of, I have these bills because I got a car. I leased a car. I own a car. I have my apartment leased, things like that. What do I do? So for me, I listened to that on a daily basis since March, and it just starts to break you sometimes. You just don't have any great answers for them. And I start to, I get questions from relatives or other people. They'll be like, is it worth it is to come to the US? I'm like, I don't know. Those are choices to be really thought about, and is there better places like Canada, which is more welcoming, Australia? Is that where I should look, Nandini? And I hate to say that, but I'm a human being and I don't want people to suffer, and I want to give them, a path forward in life, right? That's what we all want, right? We want to just progress and continue to move forward. And I'm honest, I will be like, maybe Canada's the better option, and like think that way, and
So,
stuff.
we have a caller recently.
Mhm.
She was talking to you. So, she was asking you like her mother returned green card, and then you are saying like she has to do the whole process again.
Yeah, yeah. So when you're a green card holder in the United States, it means you're a permanent resident, right? That
Yes.
this is where you permanently reside. So the basic law is you can leave India, leave for India or leave abroad, leave the United States for 6 months
Mhm.
and come back in without any questions at the airport. They're not going to say anything. From 6 months to a year, you have to say, they can stop you. And CBP at the airport, like if you're 7 months, 8 months, 9 months,
Okay.
they're pretty lax. They're not
Mhm.
super crazy, being like, what are you doing or whatever, and why didn't you come back in time?
Mhm.
Um, so after 1 year, up to 2 years, you have to have what's called a re-entry permit. And that had to have been filed before you left the United States. And you
Oh.
have to complete fingerprinting and stuff. So you have to have a long-term plan in your head, like, okay, I want to go home, I want to stay in India for a couple of years, or my kids there, whatever.
Yeah.
You have to make these plans up. But that's it. 2 years is maximum. If you go beyond that period of time, then you have to make an appointment with the U.S. consulate, and you have to get try to get what's called a returning resident visa.
Oh,
It's called an SB1. Now,
okay.
that's almost never given out. It's very rare, and
Oh,
you have to make a very compelling reason as to why didn't you come back? What happened to you? Oh, you just decided to hang out in India and decide not to come back? Or was there something that really happened? Like, I can tell you a couple of years ago when we had that is somebody was in a car accident. They were in a coma for about a month, and then for them to have rehab for 6 months or so, and we had doctors' reports, we had all of these affidavits, and that's the only legit kind of situation where the consulate was like, okay, yeah, all right, you were in an accident, we see all of this, okay, we'll give you this. And that was the only way I could get this dad back into the United States. But if you just didn't come back and you don't have some sort of compelling story, consulate's like, you voluntarily gave that up. You got to start from scratch then.
One of our viewers asking someone want emergency visitor visa. Is there any process for that?
Okay, so the consulates are on paper and in theory allowing for what emergency visa appointments, and it's exactly that, emergencies. It is rarely given. It takes multiple attempts to get the consulate to respond, and you have to have a specific emergency reason as to why you need that visa and have to come into the US. Now, the standard is extremely high. Think that, let's say that you're the liver donor, and your son or daughter in the US, they found a match for you, that you're the match for this person. Your son is going to die unless you are able to come into the US and do the liver transplant or do whatever. Think of it in that type of level of compellingness or emergency where this consulate is going to be understanding of getting a visa. If it's simply, I need to get out of India, or I need my daughter had a baby, she needs my help, those are typically not going to be considered an emergency situation where they'll even entertain any sort of interview on that. So
One of the viewers, she has one more question. Like her dad, she left in Feb, and as she's watching our shows, she's saying like, uh, will his green card will be affected?
So the father is a green card holder,
Yeah, he left on Feb.
but he's a green card holder. The father, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
He needs to try to get back here, before the 1 year mark is what I would tell. Take one of those flights, do something. He's got to get back here. Now, do I think the consulates will be understanding if it's 13 months, 14 months, the airport? Probably, because of COVID and pandemic, but you can't trust that. That there's no policy and guidance on that. So you're taking a risk if the dad doesn't try, make every attempt to get back here at least before that 1 year clock hits. So I would be concerned that, don't assume that there is understanding because of the pandemic. We're not seeing it, we're not seeing understanding. We're not seeing kindness from officials, from the administration. Because I get asked that question all the time. Well, shouldn't they be understanding? Shouldn't they extend this? Is there any sort of grace period? And there isn't. There is not any of that. So to the viewer whose father might be a green card holder, left the country, try to get back here before that 1 year clock, because I don't know what will be the case after that.
Oh, is it like that? This is really very stressful for a lot of people. I think so, not only her, but so many people, their parents must be
Yeah.
traveling and they will not be in a situation to come back because right now everything is closed.
Yeah, No, it's difficult, and but they have to try to get one of those flights that Air, on Air India. I think United, there's flights that are coming back out. It's difficult to get them. They're expensive. The journey is very hard, from what I understand. So you have to be very prepared. But the immigration laws of the United States have not eased because of pandemic. That's the point that every viewer needs to understand. They have not eased. And so you are risking the ability to come back into the United States, or all of these things, if you don't keep that perspective in mind. So don't risk anything. If you're able to come back one way or the other, come back. If you're able to stay in the United States and you don't have to travel because you don't have a visa in your passport, don't travel. Stay put. I understand you might be separated from your wife or children, but you're going to have to make some hard calls like that, because they're not going to be understanding when the consulates open. They don't care. We're seeing this very much with the State Department, which controls the U.S. consulates. And I would recommend your viewers, if they're on Twitter or even if they're not, to follow the State Department, because we are getting a lot of information from their account on Twitter. So it's not like we're getting some announcement. I monitor them, and that's how I know some information.
Yeah.
And I would recommend them to follow some of this. And if you follow the State Department Twitter, you will see the just the hard line that they're taking. And you'll see it in their comments and their responses to questions and stuff. There is no real just understanding of people's difficulties. So they're very like, this is the law, too bad. Too bad you've been separated from your 6-month-old for 6 months. I don't care. Too bad your wife had to give birth, overseas, and you haven't seen your new child. We don't care. You don't have a visa. That's it. There's no understanding. So my advice, if you're here in the U.S., stay put. Don't travel. If you're a green card holder, get back here as soon as you can. If you don't have a visa, wait it out. Let's see what happens in November. And then we'll take.
It's so difficult to come back because of the flights, how they're going to travel.
There's the flights. There's the repatriation flights from Air India. They're taking the, there are flights out from what I understand, from Air India, United, Lufthansa. I think Emirates may be starting up some flights in a little bit. There are flights. My cousin just came on an L2 visa, about 2 weeks ago. So she was able to get a flight and her 5-year-old daughter. It's a journey though, Rashmi. It's not easy. I'm on a lot of forums and I've listened to the people's, what exactly they have to go through. But there are flights. If you have a visa, if you have a green card, get on a flight, get back here. If you can, would be my advice.
That's a very nice information you have given to our viewers, and they are definitely going to follow all that thing, what you are saying.
Nandini, I have a question. So,
yeah.
How do you see the immigration policy in 2021?
So the future is what he's asking. I think the election is going to determine a lot of things. I think if we have the same administration, I think the ban gets extended for 3 to 4 years. I don't think it gets picked up. I don't think it stops. I think the administration's the hidden agenda is that we really don't like foreigners. That's if anybody watches the news, they're going to know the name Stephen Miller. He is the chief architect of a lot of these immigration policies and bans. He writes a lot of them. He writes the president's speeches, and he is very against immigration of any kind, legal, illegal, from any country. He's against that. And he is determining this course for us in the past couple of years. So if Trump is elected again, I expect these policies to continue forward. I don't expect the ban to stop at December 31st. I think it will get extended much longer. If Biden wins the election, we have, he has posted information on his website stating that he's going to reverse all of the bans and all of the immigration policies that Trump has in place once he comes into power. So the election is going to be the most critical for immigration, and it's going to determine the next 4 years. What I tell everyone is, from now till the election, continue to expect even worse immigration policies that's going to affect legal immigration. Again, I'm a business immigration attorney, and I'm not unsympathetic to DACA and undocumented. That's fine, but that's not who my clients are, and that's not whose personal journey I hear about. I hear about the legal, visa holders who come in here and here to do the work that they were petitioned for and things like that. And I just don't think it's over. I don't think that we're going to stop here. I think up until November, we're going to continue to see a series of policies and executive orders that's going to continue to attack legal immigration. In fact, what President Trump had tweeted or said something in a conversation to Telemundo on Friday, saying that, they're looking at merit-based immigration, that he's going to issue a big executive order or policy or something like that, and that he's looking to change the entire immigration system to merit-based. What does that mean? Merit-based is a points-based system. So let's say you have to get to 100 to get a visa or to get a green card or whatever, right? So you have to come up to 100. So they're going to assign points for how old you are, if you're married, what's your education, what's the job you're getting, what's the salary. So the younger you are, single, the more money you're making, the more the job is more entrepreneurial or innovative, the higher points you're going to get. So that's how they want to move it along. It's how Canada does it, and they're trying to model it very much under Canada. So, and that's okay, and that's where we move to, we'll deal with that. But it does knock out a lot of people who might be married and have kids, and what do we do about the people who are already here? There's thousands and thousands of foreign national talent, as I like to call them, in the United States. What's the grand plan for them? So that's the future. Merit-based immigration, if this administration continues to remain in power for the next 4 years.
But Nandini, see, like they're saying, so they're gonna reverse all these orders. So do you think it's gonna happen in one day? Because
No.
the government have a lot of other problems. The first problem is
Right.
the jobs, the business.
Yeah. Right.
First priority is different. So do you think they're gonna reverse everything in one day? No.
No, of course not. So the new president would come into power in January 20th. I don't think that's going to be his first priority, immigration. I think, is it a 21 priority? Maybe, yeah, somewhere along the line. So it's not going to be the first quarter, second quarter of 2021. I can see it being a summer situation, and going forward. Or maybe, it might even push out till October because the H-1B cap, right? The quota, the lottery that's run every year, those individuals come into H-1B status in October. So if you're abroad, maybe he reverses that policy at that time so that they can go and get visas and come into the United States. So again, yes, you're absolutely right. It is not going to be the first priority, but I do think it's a 21, it's on the plate.
What I feel like 21 going to be like the same like 20, so but we can expect any change, maybe 22, because first we have to fix the economy, because we don't know right now what's going to happen after 3 months.
Yeah, no, we have to fix the economy. We have to figure out getting a vaccine. We have to distribute it. There's a lot of things that are involved in it. Like I said, do I think that's his first priority? No, it's not going to be his first priority. So people who are stuck in situations, um, I don't think that this is going to be resolved in January. Like November is going to come and go, and it's not going to change anything. It's going to go into a little bit longer. So they have to make really hard choices, right? I have H-1B employees, like, the principal, like, do I just give up my job? Like, do I just go, because my wife and kid is in India,
Yeah, of course, you're in a tough situation.
but what do I do in India? The economy is not great there. How am I going to get a job there? It's COVID there, So at least if I'm working here, I'm sending money home, or we're making some money or something like that. But at the same time, I haven't seen my kid in 6 months.
It's really
And
tough. Yeah.
that's a hard choice in front of them. Like, and what a horrible situation for them that they
My
have to do.
co-host has one more question.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's another issue also because a lot of H1 people they bought property, they invested in the real estate. So what's gonna happen with those? So it's going to be the foreclosure thing.
Those individuals have to, they're going to have some ugly choices in front of them. One is that they're going to have to, let's say they have a house or they have a car, they're going to have to quickly sell it, probably at a loss, right? They're going to make probably no money because they're trying to quickly sell this. Or I know some people who are just like, I'm just going to leave and I'm going to just, that's it. I'm not going to do anything about it. Unfortunately, if that goes into a collection and a bank, they're coming after you, you're ruining your credit in the United States. Could it have worldwide impact on you? Will you be able to not come back into the US later on? Because we have a thing called a public charge rule. Public charge rule that came into place in February 2020 says that before we give you a visa, before we give you a green card, we're going to make sure that you're not going to be somebody who has bad credit, that somebody who will use your, our programs that, like welfare and long-term care and things like that. We're going to look at your background before we give this to you. That was never in place before. Now it's in place since February 2020. So if you choose and leave and don't pay off your loans and your bills, you may have to think that very carefully, because you may have a longer effect on your immigration status than you thought about. Because a year from now, 2 years from now, you're trying to come back, this might stop you. So think very carefully about that. Again, there's no good choices. It's just worse to the worst. That's all people are facing today.
Absolutely, and that's a truth, of course, and we will have to digest that. And everybody is facing this problem, and it's a great limelight you have given on all the points and this information what you have given about travel. It's really great, I'll say, and I think so. My viewers will definitely take action from today onwards, from right now, I'll say.
I hope so.
And Twitter is the best. Twitter is the best way to get all the updates. I think so. That is the best way. And Nandini, if my viewers they want to connect with you, can you please guide them?
Sure, they can definitely reach out to my office, which is at in Edison. My office is located in Edison, 732-494-4800. But the easiest way is to email me. Normally, I'm very, very proactive on my emails. My email is Nandini, Nandini, .Nair, Nair, at gmlaw.com. So for Greenspoon Marder. That's the easiest way. I do some of these shows and I speak at other events and stuff, and I try to, I'll get a lot of questions and I really try to help out people. You can also reach me on LinkedIn. People DM me on there and I'll respond. So, you can catch me at Twitter, at Nair Law. So there's a lot of ways you can catch me, and I really try to be responsive and, help people out. I I have nothing to lose by helping anybody, only to gain, right? We all have to believe in karma in life, and
Of course.
that's what I think. So
Thank you so much, Nandini. It was great talking to you. Thanks a ton.
thank you so much, Rashmi, and thank you everyone.